Hello, I'm Essay, your AI essayist. Please note that all content, audio and video in this presentation are AI generated. As AI can sometimes produce inaccuracies, I encourage you to verify any factual information presented. With that in mind, let's begin.
Abu Kamil Shuja ibn Aslam, a pivotal figure in the golden age of Islamic mathematics, occupies a singular space within the history of algebra. His work, typically referred to as Algebra, written around the year 900, stands as a crucial bridge between the foundational contributions of Muhammad ibn Musa al-Khwarizmi and the later elaborations of al-Karachi. Abu Kamil's algebra represented a significant advancement, extending the scope of algebraic operations and tackling problems of increased complexity, with a distinct focus on irrational numbers. It is a text that reveals the gradual transition from rhetorical algebra, where problems are stated and solved through prose, to a more symbolic form. The intellectual climate preceding Abu Kamil's work was largely shaped by al-Khwarizmi's al-Kitab al-Muqtasar fi Hisab al-Jabr wal-Muqabala, the compendious book on calculation by completion and balancing. Al-Khwarizmi's treatise, a landmark achievement, provided systematic methods for solving linear and quadratic equations. Algebra, in that era, acted mainly as a set of procedures to find numerical solutions to practical problems dealing with inheritance, trade, surveying and other applications. Thinkers before Abu Kamil, including the ancient Greeks, explored aspects of what would become algebra, but they often did so within a geometric context. The focus on geometric proofs occasionally constrained the development of more purely algebraic methods. The challenge Abu Kamil faced involved liberating algebraic thought from its geometric constraints and expanding a range of solvable problems. Abu Kamil's algebra significantly broadened the range of algebraic problems tackled and the types of solutions contemplated. For example, al-Khwarizmi primarily dealt with equations involving whole numbers and rational coefficients. Abu Kamil, on the other hand, explicitly worked with irrational numbers, particularly square roots, treating them as algebraic objects in their own right. He solved systems of linear equations with irrational coefficients and manipulated expressions containing radicals, demonstrating a sophisticated understanding of their properties. Within the text, Abu Kamil offered 40 problems that involved solving quadratic equations, many of which involved manipulation of surds. One class of these problems involved finding x such that x plus the root of x equals some number. Another class of problems would be to find x such that the root of x plus the root of another number equals some number. These types of problems were largely absent in al-Khwarizmi's work. A particularly innovative aspect of Abu Kamil's work lay in his treatment of indeterminate equations. While al-Khwarizmi concentrated on finding specific solutions to determinate equations, Abu Kamil explored problems with multiple possible solutions, a domain that would later become central to Diophantine analysis. He considered problems such as finding integer solutions to equations of the form x plus y equals z, where x, y, and z could possess constraints regarding their square roots or other algebraic relations. His insight was that indeterminate equations had infinitely many solutions, a concept crucial to modern number theory. Another noteworthy feature is Abu Kamil's use of geometric diagrams to illustrate his algebraic arguments. He employed geometric proofs to validate his algebraic solutions, reflecting a continued connection with the Greek mathematical tradition. However, unlike his predecessors who sometimes rely solely on geometric justification, Abu Kamil integrated geometric reasoning as complementary to his symbolic algebraic manipulations. This dual approach provided a more comprehensive understanding of the underlying mathematical principles. The immediate impact of Abu Kamil's algebra can be gauged by its influence on subsequent generations of mathematicians. In the Islamic world, his work was widely studied and commented upon, serving as a textbook and source of inspiration for scholars. His problems and methods were incorporated into later algebraic treatises, and his treatment of irrational numbers became a standard feature of Islamic algebra. Abu Kamil presented work in a fashion that was accessible and systematic. In a way, his algebra textbook served as a teaching tool rather than cutting-edge research. However, its systematic presentation and clarity made it a popular and influential work for centuries. Al-Karachi, one of the most important algebraists after Abu Kamil, built directly upon Abu Kamil's work. Al-Karachi extended Abu Kamil's methods to manipulating algebraic expressions and solving equations, developing a more sophisticated algebraic notation. Al-Karachi acknowledged his debt to Abu Kamil, describing him as a master of algebra and incorporating many of his problems and techniques. Al-Karachi also built upon Abu Kamil's work on indeterminate problems, expanding their scope and generality. His work also deeply influenced mathematicians such as Omar Khayyam. Abu Kamil also left an impact on European mathematics. Fibonacci, who played a critical role in introducing Arabic numerals and algebra to Europe, drew heavily from Abu Kamil's work. In his Liber Abbasi, Fibonacci included many problems and techniques derived from Abu Kamil's algebra, specifically those dealing with irrational numbers and quadratic equations. Fibonacci's adoption of these methods helped to stimulate the development of algebra in Europe during the Renaissance. Despite its significant contributions, Abu Kamil's algebra also faced some limitations. His notation remained largely rhetorical, employing prose descriptions rather than symbolic notation. While he made progress in manipulating algebraic expressions, his techniques were still somewhat cumbersome compared to modern algebraic notation. The absence of fully developed symbolic language hindered the further advancement of algebraic methods during his time. Abu Kamil still followed al-Khwarizmi by using diagrams to solve equations. He also utilized methods resembling completing a square. This was a common technique used by algebraists for centuries. Reception of Abu Kamil's work among his contemporaries appears positive. Scholars readily adopted his methods and incorporated his problems into their own treatises. There is little evidence of significant disagreement with his mathematical results, although discussions likely centered on the relative merits of different approaches and the interpretation of specific problems. The lack of extensive critical commentary may reflect the generally high level of mathematical competence and the shared intellectual framework prevailing in the Islamic world during this period. Abu Kamil's algebra was directly influenced by al-Khwarizmi's foundational work. He adopted al-Khwarizmi's basic algebraic operations, learned to solve linear and quadratic equations, and built upon his methods. Abu Kamil, however, departed from al-Khwarizmi by focusing on more complex problems and introducing new algebraic techniques, particularly in handling irrational numbers. Dophantus Arithmetica also likely influenced Abu Kamil's interest in indeterminate equations. While direct evidence of this influence remains scarce, the similarity between Abu Kamil's problems and those found in Arithmetica suggests a possible connection. The direct influence of Abu Kamil's work on subsequent mathematicians is clear. Al-Khawarizmi adopted and expanded upon Abu Kamil's methods, developing a more symbolic algebraic notation. Fibonacci incorporated many of Abu Kamil's problems and techniques into his Liber Abaci, introducing them to Europe. These provided the building blocks for the later development of algebra in the West. Abu Kamil's algebra represents a significant step in the evolution of algebraic thought, expanding the scope of algebraic operations and introducing new problem-solving techniques. His work served as a bridge between the early foundations laid by al-Khwarizmi and the later elaborations of al-Khawarizmi, contributing to the development of a more sophisticated and versatile algebraic system. Abu Kamil stands as a towering figure, a mathematician who expanded the horizons of algebra and paved the way for future generations of scholars. His name deserves wider recognition for the enduring legacy he created. One can imagine Abu Kamil laboring tirelessly in the libraries of 9th century Baghdad, poring over ancient texts and grappling with intricate mathematical problems. In moments of lucidity, he achieved a breakthrough illuminating not only the path for his contemporaries but also for centuries of mathematicians who followed. The quiet satisfaction of uncovering a new mathematical truth stands as a testament to the enduring power of human intellect and the timeless beauty of algebraic thought.
We really appreciate you tuning into this AI-powered presentation. Our goal is to push the boundaries of AI in content creation, and your input is invaluable. If there's a particular subject you'd like to see us tackle next, or if you have suggestions on how we could fine-tune our AI's creative prompts, please don't hesitate to leave your ideas in the comments section. We're excited to bring you more unique content very soon.